Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I was always curious what happens in the classroom next to me. Since I am here at the University of Warwick, it gave me an opportunity to explore what happens in classrooms around the world. So, in this episode, I have a friend of mine from Afghanistan, Azmal. Azmal, thank you very much for joining us
Thank
today.
you very much. Thank you, sir, for having me.
Thank you very much. So, let's start by maybe telling more about your hometown and your country.
Yeah, so I come from Afghanistan. Afghanistan is in the heart of Asia, and it's a beautiful country, but unfortunately, it has been at war most of the time, and that's the unfortunate side to it. But it's a beautiful country, and I come from one of the southern provinces of Afghanistan, which is Kandahar, which is one of the biggest cities of Afghanistan.
Okay. So let's go down the memory lane and start by
Sure.
your schooling experience. So when were you admitted to school?
I was admitted to school in 2002. It was at the time when US, US and also NATO forces came to Afghanistan due to some political changes, some political problems, and the previous government was collapsed, and US came to Afghanistan and with a new agenda. So 2001 was the year not only for education but many changes, like Afghanistan was open to the world. I mean, the doors were open to the world for the first time. So most of the schools were reopened that were closed in the previous government in 2001, and that was the time I also got admitted.
And how old were you?
Uh, I think I was 12 or 13 years old. Yeah.
Okay. So before that, you didn't have any formal education?
I went to some religious madrasas, so they don't have subjects like geography or maths or things like that, but they have mostly like religious related to Arabic language. So I did some of that before schooling.
Okay. So when you started going to madrasa?
Uh, I can't remember the exact date, but I think it was like
How old were you tentatively?
maybe 8 or 9 years old. It was
Okay.
like around 1998, 97. Yeah.
And the subjects you learn over there, they were mostly religious subjects.
Almost, yeah, most of them, yeah.
Apart from religious subject, was there anything else?
Maths were also there. Maths were there, and Arabic language, and also two of the national languages of Afghanistan, which is Dari, version of Persian, and also my mother tongue, which is Pashto.
Okay, so you studied three languages, Arabic, Dari, and Pashtun?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
In madrasas, but it's completely a different story at schools.
So I'd like to know the story.
Yeah, so from 2001, as I said, the educational system as a whole in the country was transformed. A lot of insights from outside, from elsewhere, were brought into Afghanistan. The educational system was improved, so schools were opened, which was previously opposed by the ruling party or the ruling government. So I still remember the time in 2001 when it was like suddenly when all of the schools opened, there was a huge demand. So there were many students, but there were not as many schools or buildings. The infrastructures was very low, and that was a very struggling time. And I remember I learned in tents. We did not have schools, so we learned in tents. And there were times, like for example, if it was raining, I wouldn't go to school because of the situation. So I have experienced all of those things as well. So it was difficult times, but I learned a lot from it.
Yeah, naturally. So how many students were there in your class?
It depends from starting. I mean, in 2001, when I think the number was larger than when I went to like secondary school. In secondary school, it was mostly like 30 to 40 students.
Okay.
But in primary school, it was more like sometimes it would be even 100
Oh my
students.
God.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
very large classes.
Yeah. And in these schools, what subjects were taught to you?
In primary schools, there were 4 subjects, which was two of the languages, Dari and Pashto. Also Arabic, three of those subjects, and 2 other subjects. I think it was I don't exactly remember the subject, but it was like environment. I think environment and I can't remember the
Maths,
others.
maybe?
Maths.
Yeah.
I think yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, how long was the primary education for you?
It is 6 years. Primary education starts from grade 1 until grade 6, and
Okay.
secondary school is also 6 classes, starting from class 6, grade 6 until grade 12.
Okay. And
Yeah.
the subjects being almost the same?
No, it's completely different from
Okay.
primary school. So in secondary school, we have like geography, geometry, maths. We have English language in secondary.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was your first contact with English language?
Yeah, it was actually English was brought to be like a compulsory subject or obligatory subject in 2006. So when I started school in 2001, I did not learn English until I was I think the first contact that I got with English was in 2010 in a private language institutions, not in public school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I get correctly, so you started for 6 years in primary, you went to secondary, and till you didn't have any contact with English at that time. You studied 3 languages, geography, maths, geometry, science, maybe.
Yeah.
Were there any classes about arts, crafts, or music, something like that?
No, not about music, because music is considered to be like against the culture, the local culture. So we didn't have any classes or subjects related to music. Even hearing music is not considered. Yeah, it's banned, so it's not allowed. But there were classes related to artworks. Yeah, we had like we had a subject starting from school from grade 10 at secondary school, from grade 10 to 12 until high school graduation.
Okay. So, was there coming to your primary education? How many teachers were there? Like, was there a single teacher who used to teach all subjects, or were there different teachers?
In primary school, there were 2 teachers, two teachers per class. So mostly like it were like 5 subjects, and 3 subjects were taught by one teacher, and the other 2 subjects were taught by the other teacher. So two teachers in primary level.
What about secondary?
Secondary, we had like almost a different teacher for each subject. Like in grade 10, we had 11 subjects, and we had 11 different teachers.
And what was the school timing then?
From morning, there were 2 shifts. So you could start like from morning, from 8 schools. Usually they would start from 8 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And then afternoon shift starts from 1 p.m. to 4:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, as you finished your secondary education, was there any exam that you have to get good grades?
Yeah, so after high school graduation, after secondary school graduation, there is one national exam which is called Kankor. Kankor is similar to like Chinese Gaokao. It's the national exam. So if you get good marks, you get access to higher education. But if you don't get the optimum marks, so or if you like, for example, each department has their own set marks for the entry that you have to fulfill that. If you don't obtain those marks, so then you have most of the students what do like the same thing happened to me. I did not get the result that I wanted. So I had to join private universities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So those who can get good marks, they go to public universities, and there are private universities.
Yeah.
You can also join those as well.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is that in Afghanistan, all education, public education is free.
Okay.
So
Wow.
from school to university, everything is free.
And everything is done by government. Are there
Yeah.
private schools as well?
Yeah. Private schools are very like they are expensive. Private
Ah.
education is expensive
Yeah.
as compared to public education. It's completely free. But the thing is, it's I mean, if it's you're in a kind of situation, if you don't get to public university,
You have.
so you have to like go
Yeah.
for and entry to the private universities is much easier than the
Okay.
public. Yeah.
You spoke about language school a while ago. Could you tell more about these language schools?
Language schools, so we have like different there are actually two national languages in Afghanistan, and a common person in Afghanistan should be able to speak both languages. So there are schools for these languages. If, for example, I speak Pashto, which is my mother tongue, and if I don't speak Dari, which is the other national language, so it's like almost an obligation and a compulsion that I have to learn that.
Dari,
So there are schools that I can go, and the same applies to English. The same applies to Arabic.
So, I mean, apart from this formal education we have been discussing, there are specific language schools as well.
Yes, and there are many private language schools which only teaches languages. They do not teach like other subjects. They're only built for languages, like for English and Arabic and the national languages. Yeah.
So, generally, if you are a student who don't know any language, so you have to go to regular school and then you go to these language schools as well. Is it so?
Yes. It's almost the same.
And generally, what is the age of the students who attend these language schools?
It varies. It's not set age group or age, but it is mostly like adults would go to these language schools between the age of like 17 and above. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us more about yourself once you completed graduation. So I know you came to Goa. So how that happened?
Yeah. So after my graduation from high school, as I said, I just sat for the Concours for the national exam, and I did not get the required marks that I needed. My preference, my preferred department was economics, and I think I still remember the mark. It was 330 something, 350, and I did not get that. And then after that, I just for 2 years I worked with some logistic services companies, and I gained like experience of logistics, and then it kind of motivated me to pursue or to do education in economics, and that was the time I decided that I have to go to another country and do bachelor's BA in economics, and I chose India. I was there in India for 3 years, and upon graduation from India, then I came back to Afghanistan. I started working for another company, logistics services company, and after 2 years, in 2017, I co-founded a logistics services company. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then in 2018, there was a project by the British Council, and I just applied for that, and I was employed as a manager, ELC manager. And then what happened was, in between that, one of the master trainers in the program, he just left the job, and there was a vacancy, and the organization, the British Council, kind of offered me if I can take the master trainer job. The thing was that it was an ELC program, and we were like 3 staff. So the benefits in the salary, for the manager and for the master trainer was the same. But there was an added advantage with the master trainer. So it was like a CELTA course was provided to the master trainer, and the cost was bared by the British Council, and that's the reason I just chose to do that. And yeah, it took me to the teaching.
Lovely. That's a great journey. So you completed your CELTA to be a teacher. So generally, whoever teaches in Afghanistan,
Yeah.
what courses do they complete to become a teacher?
There's not a set requirement that they have to do so in so course to be a teacher. So what happened in Afghanistan? So I would say there is very limited exposure to English language, and those who are like in a very I would say if by CFR level, if someone can speak like B1 level of English, he is more capable of becoming an English teacher, irrespective of having any kind of certification or any kind of like qualification. So it's very easy to become a teacher. I remember I was like a student of advanced class in the morning, and then I was like in the center there was shortage of teachers, and I was offered like teaching role to teach the lower level classes. So I was a student in the morning, a teacher in the afternoon.
Great. That's nice.
So-
So this was this experience you told that was in the language school.
It was in the language school, yeah, exactly in one of the language schools that that I was learning English in.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So are there some interesting initiatives, maybe by the government, maybe by your company, or maybe by you yourself, that you want to share?
I would say I just spent most of my time in the classroom, just wanting to learn how to speak. But during that time, the teacher who was there was like he was teaching us all grammar, like the structures of grammar and all of those things. And then I was kind of demotivated by that, and I was not interested in attending those classes. So what I think is the most important thing is that for a teacher, uh, I mean, it could be different in different contexts, but what I see is that most of these teachers. I mean, if you ask those students in the classroom that would they be teachers in the future, or why did they want to learn English? I'm sure that 90% or even more than that would say that they would never want to become a teacher. They want to learn English for like something else, like to want to communicate with the world. So the thing is that I mean teaching methodology is very important for me. So a teacher has to find out like his students what is their motivation level, why do they want to learn English, and according to that he should like adopt his own teaching methodology as well.
That's a great
Yeah.
insight. Thank you very
Yeah.
much for that.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to share?
I don't think so. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
It was
Thank you
great
very
to
much.
know your
Yeah.
journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you.